Welcome to the channel and welcome to today's run through of all the latest Manchester United news and transfer updates, keeping you right up to date with everything. I'm Jamie. Before we get into it, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let's jump straight into it. There's been almost a diarrhea explosion of news regarding none other than Bryan Mbeumo to go through, with talk that a deal has been agreed and even rumours around a possible medical being booked. So let's get into it. So let's kick off with, let's go through the timeline. So last night, coming from the Standard, now this apparently is a very good journalist regarding Brentford, suggesting that Brentford are hoping to negotiate easier add-ons for Manchester United, whose latest bid is £55 million up front plus £5 million in add-ons before sanctioning a deal for Mbeumo. Man United are close to agreeing a deal to sign Bryan Mbeumo. Then we've had the Times saying that Manchester United are closing in on a deal for Bryan Mbeumo for a similar fee, £62.5 million they paid for Cunha. That seemed to be the golden number from when the negotiations started a few weeks ago, that they wanted Cunha money because they see Mbeumo on the same level as Mateus Cunha, which is fair enough. Now, Ben Jacobs and Alex Crook, who were two of the first journalists, I think, on Monday to go with the news that Man United have made their second bid for Mbeumo, saying that talks are progressing positively and a package worth in excess of £60 million after news a second bid exclusively broken on Monday night. Ben Jacobs also said that Manchester United want to confirm Mbeumo before returning for pre-season on July the 7th. Second offer of £60 million, not far off Brentford's expectations, with add-ons being discussed. Jamie Jackson, who's a good source, said the initial fee between Manchester United and Brentford is understood to be agreed, with the clubs discussing add-ons that may take the overall deal close to Brentford's £65 million valuation. So Jamie Jackson, very good source, suggesting that it's understood that the deal is agreed. So this is the first time we've heard any reports around that bid, because we know we've made a bid, but we didn't know up until this stage whether that bid had been agreed or not by Brentford. But Jamie Jackson saying that a deal has been agreed, but we are just discussing the add-ons, and so the finer details around the structure of the add-ons and how much in add-ons as well, which is exciting. Sully Talks, who's a very good source, said that Manchester United has reached an agreement with Brentford for Bryan Mbeumo. Deal expected to be finalised within next week's. Medical and contract signing pending completion. So Sully Talks, again, going with the deal and the agreement has been reached with Bryan Mbeumo, and Sully's a good source as well, been spot on recently with transfer news, team news, injury news, etc. as well. So that's, again, massively exciting. Then we've had Rudy Galletti. Now, Rudy Galletti actually broke a story a day before anybody else, suggesting that United had a 63 million, or made a second bid of £63 million plus for Mbeumo. Normally, I would say Rudy Galletti hit and miss or take with a pinch of salt, but was actually accurate with that. It's also suggesting that deal between Manchester United and Brentford for Bryan Mbeumo now only pending add-on structure. These request a £2 million increase in bonuses due to the last meeting. Brentford already working on his replacements as well. So it seems like that's just the finer details around the add-ons, but Brentford have agreed the deal with Manchester United according to these reports. Samuel Lucas has said that Manchester United are closing in on the signing of Brentford attacker Bryan Mbeumo after submitting a bid in excess of £60 million. Talks between United and Brentford have continued in recent weeks, and a deal is now on the brink of being finalised. Then we've had Ben Jacobs also saying that Bryan Mbeumo is waiting for permission to undergo his Manchester United medical. Now, Ben Jacobs has been spot on so far this summer with his transfer news, not just with Mbeumo, but also Cunha as well, and a few other stories. So credit where it's due. Normally, I would say Ben Jacobs is a little bit hit and miss, but he's been way more hit than miss recently, suggested that Mbeumo is waiting permission to undergo his medical. Then we've had Fabrizio Romano saying that Bryan Mbeumo told Brentford that going to Manchester United is a dream move for him and he would like to go as soon as possible. And then Graham Bailey has also said that Manchester United are inching closer to confirming their second senior signing of the summer with Bryan Mbeumo. Mbeumo deal seen by some as more impressive than Cunha move. United impressively beat 3 Premier League rivals to deal. Huge deal for Jason Wilcox. So that is all the latest regarding Bryan Mbeumo, but there's an absolute explosion of news. I'm just going to check my feed now to see if anything's come out at the time of recording this video, because it's very, very very hot around the deal. So just to summarize for you, the latest is, according to Jamie Jackson, Sully Talks, and a few others, that the deal with Brentford has been agreed, which is massively exciting. It's just working on the add-ons, so they want a little bit more, maybe an add-on. So it's those kind of finer little details around the add-ons. And then I don't think it's going to be long before we either get a David Ornstein bomber or a here we go. Ben Jacobs saying that Mbeumo is waiting to do his medical or wanting to do it. And according to Fabrizio Romano, he wants to get this deal done as soon as possible as well. So it appears like we are clawing our way there, and we're almost nearly at the finishing line. I think now with these, it's just a case of ironing out those last few details. And then I think we're going to get the here we go and the David Ornstein or a David Ornstein bomber in the near future as well, which is massively exciting because, as I mentioned, it's the first time that we've heard of any reports around how Brentford feel about that particular deal. It's the first time we've heard any journalist confirming whether Brentford have accepted or refused the offer. And the belief was before, if you remember off of previous videos, is that when United make their second bid, they want it to be accepted. They don't want to have this bidding war where we bid, they reject it, we bid again. So it's been agreed. They're just working out the details of the add-ons. Massively exciting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and smash a like on the video if you're excited to see Bryan Mbeumo at United next season, because I am. I just seen a thing actually while I was checking my feed. Check this out for a stat. So Bryan Mbeumo and Bruno Fernandes are just 2 of 4 players who had 70 plus shots and created 70 plus chances in the Premier League last season. The other 2 were Mo Salah and Cole Palmer. So Mbeumo and Bruno both had 70 plus shots and 70 plus shots and created 70 plus chances in the Premier League last season, and they are both going to be playing for us next season. So I'm massively excited around that. But give us your thoughts and your shouts on that in the comments below. Now let's go through. I accidentally put this slide up, so this might not be a surprise to you now. But let's go through the rest of the transfer news. So Manchester United are showing concrete interest in Club Brugge midfielder Ardon Jashari. United want to go further than AC Milan, another suitor, to sign Jashari. United are less attractive to the player given their sporting situation. So this is a player I know nothing about. I'm not going to claim to know, to be a professional. I did probably what most of you did if you've heard this story already, or if you're watching now, is just Googled and watched a few highlights and stuff. It does look like a very good player, actually. He's a number 6, so he's a holding midfielder. Very progressive, looks good on the ball, looks good at his progressive running as well. So got some really good stats as well. So looks like a really interesting profile of player. Now that came from a very good Belgian source as well, or Belgian news outlet, because he plays for Club Brugge in Belgium. He's 20, coming up 23. He's going to be 23 on the 30th of this month. He's Swiss. Apart from that, I know nothing about the player, but he does look like an interesting profile of player. And if we're looking to bring in a midfielder, then this could be one of those unknown gems, or those hidden gems that actually could be a smart move. Ryan Taylor Sport from the Mirror said that Manchester United have held talks with the representatives of Ardon Jashari. AC Milan are currently leading the race after submitting an opening £25.6 million offer. Club Brugge want a £34 million package. Jashari has rejected Fulham and West Ham. And then we've had Team Talk saying that Manchester United are planning a bid for Ardon Jashari this summer amid interest from Man United, Milan and Roma. Club Brugge have made it clear Jashari will only leave for €40 million, so £34.12 million, with at least €35 million, which is £29.9 million, as a fixed fee as well. So not the most expensive option out there for midfielders. And then Fabrizio Romano, though, has said that understand AC Milan is set to improve their bid for Club Brugge for Ardon Jashari up to €27 million fixed fee plus €5 million in add-ons. Club Brugge insist on higher fee, but AC Milan will try to push again. So according to Romano, AC Milan are making their second bid. So they're in clear negotiations and are much further down the line than United are, which leads me to believe this might be an agent-driven story or a club-driven story or somewhere where United are being linked to the player to try and get other clubs to bid for him or to get a higher fee from AC Milan. That's how it feels at the time of recording this video. I'd want to wait for a bit more credibility to see whether the interest is actually genuine or not, because it kind of feels a little bit like if AC Milan are making bids, I think United would have made their move by now if it was a player that we were genuinely interested in. And it feels a little bit agent-driven at this moment. That's just my personal opinion. You can let me know what you think in the comments regarding that situation, though. But interesting profile of player. Like I said, don't know anything, don't know much about him. Watched the highlights, done a bit of research regarding him. So does look really interesting. Would be a really one of these young hidden gems. I like these sort of signings as well. Florian Plettenberg, though, has just come out saying that Manchester United are monitoring Club Brugge, Ardon Jashari, and have shown interest, but Jashari is focused on Milan as well. So it feels a little bit like this might be, as I mentioned, like an agent story or a club leaking it out that United are interested to try and get AC Milan to either increase their offer or maybe generate a bidding war with other teams as well. But interesting profile. I'd want to see a bit more credibility, though, before getting too excited regarding it. But I like the idea of it. I like these sort of profile of players. Like, I'm still waiting for United to come out with a with a bit of a rabbit in the hat signing, like somebody like we're not linked with, Christopher Vivell working his magic and using his scouting network to go and find a player like this, because I've been waiting for it. Like I'm here for these sort of signings all day. It's just that one particularly, I don't know. I want to see a bit more credibility personally regarding the situation, but would be an interesting profile of player. We'll see how it develops. We'll see if it's got any legs over the next few days, especially if Romano's saying that AC Milan are preparing a second bid as well. We'll wait and see, because I think United would want to make a move if their interest in the player is genuine or not. But give us your thoughts on the player. If you know more about him, let us know, share it in the comments so we can all have a read and let us know what you think. Good option, bad option. I'd love to hear your thoughts regarding the player down below, so give us your shouts on that. Now, the rest of the news is all regarding exits. So if you watched yesterday's video, a lot of the noise regarding specifically Jadon Sancho was around Fenerbahce, where Fenerbahce, loads of news regarding Fenerbahce and talk of bids and personal terms being agreed. Well, the noise today, specifically around Sancho, is coming from Juventus. So let's go through the latest there. So Corriere dello Sport was saying that Juventus director Damian Camoli is pushing hard for Jadon Sancho. Talks with his camp are described as very hot, but Juve prefer a loan with option or conditional obligation, while Manchester United want a permanent sale. So please, can we do a permanent deal with Sancho? No loans, no obligations to buy, unless they pay 100% of his wages, and then because that's the problem with Sancho. It's the wages that are more important than necessarily the transfer fee. They're going to pay all of his wages. I do not want to be paying Jadon Sancho again to be playing for other clubs, and I don't think Ineos want to do that neither. They don't want to be paying players to go away and play for other clubs as well. So the only way I would do an obligation to buy would be if they cover 100% of his wages. That would be, but even then, I'd still be a little bit unhappy with that, but we'll wait and see how the details of the deal come out. So Juventus are pushing for Jadon Sancho tomorrow, so Wednesday. So today, there will be a video call with Manchester United to discuss the situation. Juventus want to go ahead with him and try to understand the feasibility of the operation. So Damarcio, who is good when it comes to Italian news, suggesting that there might be a meeting or a video call today, might have already happened at the time of recording this video, between Juventus and Manchester United to discuss the details of the deal regarding Jadon Sancho. So we'll wait and see if there's any more updates, probably overnight, regarding that situation from Damarcio, because normally does like a lot of his posts and stuff a little bit later on in the evening. But that's going to be really interesting to keep an eye on. Ekrem Connor, who we haven't heard from for a while, have we? Ekrem Connor, he went through a stage of literally linking us with about 50 players in a row, none of which has turned out to be very credible. And I did say take him with the pinch of salt, because he's linking us with so many players. So there's a blast from the past. But however, Ekrem Connor was saying the biggest hurdle for clubs eyeing behind Jadon Sancho is his eye-watering £9 million annual salary demand, which is holding up potential summer transfers. So again, suggesting the wages that Sancho are demanding might be an issue. Manchester United have proposed a straight swap between Jadon Sancho and Dusan Vlahovic to Juventus. Now, Tuto Juve suggesting that there might be the option of a straight swap between Sancho and Vlahovic, which, you know, swaps don't happen. And thank you for the comment on the video the other day reminding me of the Alexis Sanchez and Mkhitaryan. I'd erased that swap deal from memory because it was absolute one of the worst bits of business we've done for a very long, well, until recently, until someone said, hold my beer, you thought that transfer was bad. Wait and see how much I'm going to pay for Antony and Sancho, and wait and see how much wages I'm going to pay for them as well. But, you know, I'd erased that from memory, but that was the last swap deal that we effectively did. But that's not like, I know swap deals don't happen, but hear me out. Jadon Sancho is a problem with us, so we want to get rid of him. He's on high wages. Vlahovic is on high wages, and Juventus apparently want to get rid of him. Like, it probably suits both parties doing that deal, you know. It just doesn't help us from a PSR perspective or an FFP perspective, because you're just replacing one like a like for like. But it would make sense. It's not going to happen, though. Swap deals don't happen anymore, but it would make sense, in my opinion. But give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments below. And then the latest is coming from La Stampa. Now, La Stampa have got like 1.8 million followers, so they're a fairly decent outlet, saying that Juventus are pushing hard for Jadon Sancho after the player agreed to join the club, with negotiations now focusing on reaching a deal with Manchester United. So according to the latest on Sancho, he's agreed to go to Juventus, and they're just working on a deal with us. Demarcio has been saying that we've had a meeting today to understand the details of the deal between us and Juve as well. But again, we had all the reports yesterday of Fenerbahce, similar stories actually around a deal with Fenerbahce. So it's good that we've got competition, because the more competition we have, the more likely teams are to pay Sancho the wages that he's after as a way to sign the player, and the better it is for us, because the more bids we get, the more likely it is for him to go on a permanent deal. And that's what I think that surely everybody wants. Like, even Sancho surely wants to just go. Like, I know he's on big money and stuff, and you know, we gave him that contract, and it's his right to do that. But surely he's had enough of this situation now as well. Like, you would have thought. But let's see how it all plays out. But I think it's good that we've got competition for Jadon Sancho, and you know, Fenerbahce, Juventus, Napoli have been linked as well. So I think that's good, because the more interest we can get, the more likely it is that we get a permanent solution for Sancho. But give us your thoughts and your feelings on that in the comments below, as I am sure that you will. Now, in terms of other exits, so let's go. So Antony is thought to be the closest to an exit, yet the question has always been how high Real Betis, with whom he has been on loan, can afford to go. So that came from Michael Critchley from The Athletic, who's a good source, saying that Antony is still the closest to be leaving. Interestingly, Real Betis, we've just had the here we go for them to sell a player to, and I totally forgot his name at the time of recording, to Atletico Madrid, Cardosa, going to Atletico Madrid for 30 million euros by all accounts. So that might give Betis a bit of wiggle room to come in with an offer for Antony, but it is believed that they are working on this deal, and that Antony wants to go. He's happy to take a pay cut to go to Real Betis, because he just wants to play football, and I champion that attitude, and fair play to Antony to wanting to go and revive his career and actually go and enjoy himself and play football with a smile on his face and things like that as well. So I'm massively all for that for Antony as well. So again, that seems to be one that hopefully maybe we would get some movement on soon as well. And then Rashford is the other player that's obviously we know we're looking to remove. So the latest there is that Dean Jones has said that Manchester United hope Marcus Rashford becomes more open-minded about his realistic options in the coming weeks, because he's believed to be waiting for Barcelona. We need the rest of the news regarding Rashford is around a deal potentially with Barcelona. But obviously if that deal doesn't go through, you know, he might be refusing other teams, and then it just leaves him a lack of options the later this drags on as well. So I do think that there will come a time when maybe he has to make a decision for himself. Do I hang on and wait for Barcelona and a move might never come, or do I actually look at another club? So hopefully we'll get a conclusion to this soon. Jamie Jackson, though, said that Barcelona is still keen on a loan move for Marcus Rashford, even if they sign Nico Williams. It's believed Barcelona might want to play him up front, but he is versatile enough to play right, centre, left. So you could play him in a few positions. So he would provide a bit of cover for Yamal and Nico Williams if they get him, Lewandowski. So I can see why it would maybe make sense for Barcelona to be looking at someone like Rashford. And then Ben Jacobs said that Barcelona are considering a loan move for Marcus Rashford. Rashford has no future at Old Trafford under Ruben Amorim, but United want £40 million. Remains to be seen whether they sanction a loan. So according to Ben Jacobs, potentially Barcelona might be looking to come in with a loan move for Marcus Rashford. That's my fear. I did say that in yesterday's video, that I can see a situation where it drags on and then eventually Barcelona do a loan with an obligation to buy. I'm not necessarily against that as long as they cover his full wages. I just don't want to be paying players to go and play for other clubs this summer, especially the ones that are on big salaries that have no future at the club, because it's just a drain on our financial our PSR, and we need to get that. But if we do a loan with an obligation to buy and they cover their full salaries, it's off the PSR books, and it still gives us the same freedom to go out and spend, as well as it's got the obligation to buy with none of these exit clauses, please, if you are going down that route. And then Barcelona are prepared to preparing a loan offer for Rashford despite targeting Nico Williams. Manchester United prefer a £40 million permanent sale, but if loaned, they'll demand a fee and full coverage of his £325,000 a week salary. And that came from Paul Hurst in the Times, who's a good source as well, effectively saying the same thing as Jamie Jackson, that they want a loan. So that sounds like maybe that was some sort of brief that came out regarding from the club or from Rashford's side. I don't know who it came from, suggesting that would be the deals. And if it is what it is, it is what it is. If it comes to that, if we have to do a loan, as long as it's full wages, obligation, it is what it is, isn't it? Now, one player actually that we're struggling to sell is Malacia. So Manchester United are having trouble finding buyers for Tyrell Malacia. That came from The Athletic, and it's a forgotten man, isn't he, Tyrell Malacia? Obviously, he's not played for us he did, but he was out for such a long time with his injury, came back, had a few games, didn't look anywhere near as good as what he was beforehand, went out on loan to PSV. They have not taken up that option to buy him. Actually won the title as well, fair play. So you could argue to say he had a better season than us this season. But yeah, no real interest, no updates, nothing regarding Malacia. So that's going to be one to keep an eye on and see how that plays out for the rest of the transfer window. And Hojlund is the other player that's linked with an exit. So Court Offside is saying that Rasmus Hojlund is wanted by both Napoli and Inter this summer. Manchester United could let Rasmus Hojlund go for around €45 million. No offers have been made yet by any club, so it's sticking with our guns around Hojlund. We want €45 million or £40 million for a permanent sale of Rasmus Hojlund. The Muppeteers were saying that Inter Milan is continuing talks to Rasmus Hojlund's agent, but they need to move Mendy Tarami before trying to get him, so that Inter need to sell to buy and remove Tarami. And then potentially that frees up some wiggle room maybe for them to come in for Hojlund. And Fabrizio Romano has said that Inter Milan are in negotiations with Rasmus Hojlund and Manchester United as well. So that's one to keep an eye on regarding potentially another exit from United as well. Now, obviously, if we sell Rasmus Hojlund, where are we at with the striker situation? Well, Alex Crook on TalkSport has said that after Bryan Mbeumo, the club will turn their attention to signing a new number 9. Victor Gyökeres is on United's radar. They have inquired about Hugo Ekitike, and Moise Kean is an option as well. Now, Alex Crook, I would say take with a pinch of salt. Hit and miss is what I would say regarding Alex Crook, but he does a lot with Ben Jacobs, and Ben Jacobs has been spot on this summer so far as well, suggesting, and I think they're the three main names that are linked with us. Gyökeres and Ekitike are the top two. Moise Kean. Still loads of stories going on regarding him as well as a potential option, but we'll need to keep an eye on the striker situation, because I think that is going to be obviously I'm going to get massively excited when we get the here we go or the announcement and everything regarding Bryan Mbeumo, but then it's going to be really fascinating to see who we pivot to next in the striker situation, because the striker position is going to be the one that all the journalists are saying that we're going to pivot towards afterwards as well. So that's going to be really interesting to see actually who we are going to go for, who we see as our primary target for the striker position. But so yeah, I'm going to be excited to see how that plays out hopefully in the next few weeks. But give us your thoughts on that in the comments below. Give us your thoughts on all the other topics discussed in today's video, because that's you all up to date with the latest news and transfer updates. Smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. See you in the next one.